My inspiration as a kid, musically, I was like probably any kid at that time living in my grandparents' house listening to a lot of the Philadelphia classics, Teddy Pendergrass, OJ's Temptations, Stevie Wonder. But also I was into hip hop early on, and that was the music of our, generation at that particular time, listening to a lot of the Grandmaster Flash, The Message, further went into Eric B. and Rakim, KRS-One.
When we started out here in the 70s in Chicago, I'm 13, 14 years old listening to WBAI, so that was my first introduction to kind of dance music and disco music. And then when I started going to, some of the clubs and kind of hanging outside, the Jeffrey Pub and the Warehouse and all that.
Well, the dying of disco was the birth of house music, because we were taking a lot of the bass lines and things from the old disco tunes and reintroducing them to the younger kids that were coming up. So that's why I always say house is the bastard child of disco.
My mother had me at a really young age, so at that time, my grandmother and my grandfather came and took me kind of out of the streets of the south side of Chicago and moved me here. My cousin had to babysit me, and so he took me to a party on Lakeshore Drive on the north side. It was called Belmont Rocks. And that was the first time I heard Frankie Knuckles DJ. And what was crazy to me, how he was blending all of these records that I hear my father play in the house, but making it sound like one continuous long record.
So I actually became a DJ by accident, I would say. I didn't have any plans of becoming a DJ, but when I graduated from 8th grade, I decided I would give this big 8th grade graduation party at my house. Because it was my party, I decided I was going to play the music, but I didn't know anything about being a DJ. I didn't have 2 turntables or a mixer or anything like that, so I just used my dad's stereo equipment. I think we had 1 turntable and then a cassette tape deck. So that night, I was the DJ, and I would, just put on 1 record, and then it was over. I'd take it off and put on another record. But that night I fell in love with the process of seeing people on the dance floor kind of react to what I was playing and scream and put their hands in the air. And I said, if they like that record, they're really gonna like this next record. So it was really that moment that I got the bug about DJing and the power of DJing in terms of the influence and the control that you can have over the crowd in a positive way.
What really drove me as a DJ was to see how one person can control a crowd musically. So that really had me focused on, I need to know how to put these records together.
Probably our biggest contribution, we were primarily the only DJs who took this sort of underground disco dance music that was, being played at not only the Warehouse and the Music Box, but there were a lot of other spots around town.
At the beginning, we were just doing it just to be doing it, playing it in the parties, and we didn't see that we could be famous or make a whole lot of money or things like that. We were just doing it because that's what we love to do.
Sunday nights in Chicago, people knew it was Bang Sundays at the Shrine. So for us to be that outlet for so many years, of having DJs look at us to say, you have to go to the Shrine on Bang Sundays on Terriana night to really get the house that you can experience like all over the world. And that's why this venue and that night was so special. So it's a very important piece of Chicago house music, and I believe that will be a part of Chicago's history to come.
I always say, when you're really in the zone as a DJ, when you're really vibing, you don't even have to think about the next record. It's like the next record picks you. You don't pick the next record, it actually picks you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when you're really in the zone.
In the zone, yeah.
At this time, Mike Dunn, Marshall Jefferson, and Sherman, they all lived in the same house. And I was like, I need a track with my name. And Armando, rest in peace, was a good friend of ours. He was like, yeah, let's go over to Mike's house. Let's go check out Mike. So Mike was in the basement messing around with some tracks, and I was like, man, I need to make a track. I want a track with my name. And sampling kind of had just started to come out. And so Mike was working on the drum machine and showing me how to hit pads and stuff. And then he was like, let's make a track, put your name in it. He says my name. And the track was called Terry Hunter, so it was just this beat track with Mike sampling and triggering the sample, and it was Terry Hunter, Terry Hunter.
It's Mike Dunn at the radio station, baby. This is my other job. You know, I DJ and then I host a radio show and mix on a radio show. So this is how we get it in. If you're looking for a great, true house party, come check me out each and every Tuesday at Reynolds. I still incorporate some of my hip-hop roots into my house stuff. That's why my stuff is more like funky sounding, because I kind of fuse the hip-hop and the house, but you don't know you're listening to hip-hop being fused into it.
Yeah, it's subtle.
So it's, with the samples and stuff like that. So I've been coming up.
I can see that could be the start of a hip-hop
song. So, you know, starting off with a nice house beat. This is gonna be called Nothing When It's Done. And it's Luther Vandross, I Who Have Nothing, which is an old song.
It's a remix.
I Who Have Nothing. I think Burt Bacharach may make that.
Okay.
I think Burt may have wrote that. So, but, you know. Real sexy. I like making records for the ladies, because if you get the ladies to like the song, the men's gonna follow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The men follow.
They're all gonna be dancing, so they'll have to.
Because if the ladies on the floor dancing, the guys gonna get up, especially if it's a beautiful girl.
Dances are a very important part to the house music scene and culture, and very important for us as DJs to witness, because one of the things sometimes a lot of DJs, we hate to be so far removed from the crowd because we can't see or really feel the energy from the crowd that makes us go to another level. So the dances are a very, very important part of what we do as DJs and house music.
The Chosen Few DJs was actually started in 1975 by Wayne Williams. And by 1980, there were 5 of us: Wayne, myself, Alan King, Tony Hatchett, Andre Hatchett, and Jesse Saunders. It made perfect sense to bring these brothers on, first Terry in 2005, I believe, and then Mike in 2012. So, you know, the Chosen Few DJs is about more than just being great DJs, and you know, we all like to think we're great DJs, and certainly these guys are, and producers, but you know, it's a real brotherhood, and you know, it takes more than skill to be part of this brotherhood. So we're happy to have us. That's why we chose. Where we are is the site of the Chosen Few Picnic, now Chosen Few Music Festival. We've been going 26 years strong. This is the location that we've been at since 2008. And last year, which was our 25th anniversary in 2015, which was an amazing day on many fronts, but we were honored by the city of Chicago, who renamed where we're standing Hayes Drive as Honorary Chosen Few DJs Way.
Us going to Washington, you know, we were on the lawn when the president comes out and does most of his speeches. That's where that picture was taken. We were there in front of the Oval Office, man. That's like, you know, you cannot, your words cannot describe that. You know, happy, but also you felt some kind of way like, wow, from DJing. Like, we're the first, and probably gonna be, if some other stuff go wrong, the only
Sure, we're gonna be the only
house
right?
music DJs that ever visit the White House and be on the line, you know what I'm saying? So it's been a great journey, like Terry said, but don't put me in my car, I ain't ready. I still got some more stuff to do, yo.